Thank you, Mark. Okay, let's move on to propaganda, really. And what's quite incredible has been the level of propaganda coming out of the mainstream press for war. And here's just one example of it from the BBC. So mainstream press going all out to promote a war narrative, particularly against Iran. So the BBC here claiming to have seen court documents from Turkey and the United States, which they say contain evidence that Iran has been hiring criminal gangs to carry out killings on foreign soil. So I'd like to get a definition for what evidence means in this case. There's no suggestion of criminal conviction. There is no report of a prison sentence for anyone alleged to have murdered anyone. And we've got to remember this is the same BBC that regurgitated evidence of yellow cake, the same BBC that regurgitated evidence for chemical weapons in Syria, and so on. But meanwhile, in the United States, here's Fox. And they have claims to have evidence of secret nuclear weapons facilities in Iran. And this evidence, they say, comes in the form of satellite images. Their source is the Iranian opposition group, the National Council of Resistance of Iran, which claimed a previously undisclosed facility, which they dubbed, or is dubbed, the Rainbow Site, has been operating for over a decade to extract tritium, a material used in advanced nuclear weapons, according to Fox. Now, tritium is also used for a host of other activities, including as a medical marker, for luminescence on watches, for gun sights, a whole bunch of other applications for it as well. But anyway, in this context then, it's perhaps unsurprising that the mainstream press is basically bankrupt here in the UK. And as a result, the UK regime has announced its latest attempts to maintain mainstream narratives with a couple of decisions. The first one is the lesser of the two, is to extend the ability for government to scrutinise mergers and takeovers, to extend that to online news websites and magazines. And they say this reflects modern news consumption habits, and they highlight Ofcom's reporting that 70% of UK adults are saying they consume online news in some capacity. And so the UK government is saying that these expanded powers will allow greater scrutiny of takeovers that might negatively affect accurate reporting, freedom of expression, and media plurality. Try not to laugh as you hear that. And they say that these are essential to the UK's democracy. Yes. Okay. Well, that in and of itself might seem that significant, but the secondary announcement was that they've also introduced what they describe as targeted exceptions to allow certain state-owned investment funds, such as sovereign wealth funds or pension funds, to invest up to, or to take control of up to 15% in UK newspapers and news periodicals. And they claim this is to address concerns that a foreign sovereign wealth fund could buy up a UK newspaper. Now, this follows the furore over the possibility of UAE buying the Telegraph, which is basically bankrupt. But it's mostly about making sure that foreign money can still come into the UK to keep the mainstream media going here. Now, what's of note is that this 15% number is 3 times what was originally conceived, and the increase followed lobbying from the publishers of the Daily Mail, the Times, from Lord Rothermere, and from Rupert Murdoch. So there's already massive pushback. There's already massive pushback on this from the Commons and the Lords against the idea of a 15% stake being taken by any foreign state actor. But what is clear is the sheer desperation from the media barons here that their publications need funding, and that the funding is not coming from the United Kingdom. And well, I'm going to suggest, Patrick, that maybe they wouldn't be in this position if they were selling news and not propaganda.
Yeah, proper news and analysis, not the sort of propaganda we just watched. By the way, Mike, the National Resistance Council of Iran, they had those satellite images that you just showed.
Yes.
That's actually what they mean is the MEK, the Mujahideen al-Kek, a designated terrorist organization, basically holed up in Albania, backed by the CIA and Israeli intelligence. That's the source for the Fox secret nuclear sites, believe it or not.
Brilliant.
So great source. Well done, Fox.
Yes, indeed. Mark, let's come back to you then, and back to the United States.